Good morning, it's Christopher Taylor up on the hill with Sovereign Harmony Astrology. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. It's a foggy day here locally. We're going to do the astrology for August 9th to the 15th, roughly, and it includes a big total solar eclipse in Leo at about 20 degrees Leo. Also, some interesting things happening with Mercury, with Mars, and Venus. So we'll just jump into it. I'm going to start with that solar eclipse. It's big. It's August 12th on Wednesday this week. Okay, it is a solar eclipse. So it's sun and moon. It's like a new moon amplified on the south node. Okay, this means release, endings. Okay, and it will be trining Saturn in Aries. Saturn is retrograde in Aries right now. And so the big theme of this solar eclipse, which will be followed by a lunar eclipse in Pisces in a couple of weeks, the big theme to start this eclipse season is this idea of releasing the ego, releasing the pride. These are the more negative sides of Leo energy, which is what we're releasing because we are on the south node of the moon's nodes. Okay, and so any masks, any performances that we put on that we think we have to be in the world, what this solar eclipse is asking us to do is to release that, to recognize it. It's going to come up the next few months. I mean, this is not like something that just happens this week. This is the next several months ahead. Okay, who do we pretend to be, essentially, right? And this forces us to see that and to say, do I need to be this anymore? So we can release it. We're responsible for how we present ourselves. That's Saturn and Aries. Saturn and Aries is like, where is our authentic expression, right? Is that mask really a representation of that? And so it's a chance to reorient our expression to the world in a more authentic manner and taking responsibility for that. That's the key here. And that's going to open up a lane for a lot to move through. Okay, and we'll get to that a little bit here in a second. But that'll set us up. That's the main theme of the week. It's huge. It's big. I don't want to minimize it. But we also have things happening with the personal planets. That includes Mercury, Mars, and Venus, like I mentioned before. And so Mercury is actually today on Sunday, the 9th, is entering Leo. It has been in Cancer for about 2 months straight, since about mid-June. And that is because it slowed down, it retrograded in Cancer, and it was covering the tracks of Jupiter in Cancer, which entered Cancer in early summer of 2025, was with us until late June of 2026. Okay, and so lots of emotional growth has happened in that past year. That Mercury retrograde in Cancer, covering that same area of the zodiac that Jupiter did, was basically a reevaluation of that growth. All right, very introspective. Now with Mercury entering Leo today, it's a lot more expressive, and it's happening here, right before this solar eclipse in Leo. So it's all about that expression. So we may find that we rediscover our expression with Mercury entering Leo and realize how much of it does or does not represent our authenticity. Okay. And again, that being the main theme of this solar eclipse is to see where we're not being authentic, take responsibility for that, and readjust our expression to be more authentic, to be more who we are. All right. And what Mercury's also going to do when it enters Leo is the same thing that Jupiter did when it entered Leo, the same thing that the sun did when it entered Leo. And that is, it forms that Barbo basket. Okay, so it opposes Pluto in Aquarius, sextiles Uranus and Gemini, and trines Neptune and Aries. So that Barbo basket that is asking more of us to be contained in this life, more of our soul, not our ego, more of our soul. So this, again, the solar eclipse is about eclipsing that ego out so our soul can exist. And so Mercury is just reiterating that when it enters Leo, and it's also going to be squaring Chiron and Taurus, just like Jupiter did when it entered Leo, just like the sun did when it entered Leo. Okay, and so a reminder of our personal limitations when it comes to our worthiness. They're not real limitations, they're our perceived limitations. And so this is just reigniting this idea of like, hey, I'm worth more. This bowl, this basket, this can contain more of me, okay? And more of me deserves to be here. So it's a reiteration of that on a mental level with Mercury. Then we have Mars, which 2 days later, on Tuesday, the 11th, enters Cancer. So we just had Mercury exit Cancer, and we've really had activity in Cancer for over a year now. And when Jupiter entered Cancer, that was a big theme. Mercury was reiterating that, reevaluating that. And you think, okay, we're done with the Cancer energy for a while. We're not so introspective. We're not going into the depth of the emotions anymore. And then 36 hours after Mercury exits Cancer here today, Mars enters Cancer, and it'll be in Cancer until the end of September. So we have about 7 weeks of Mars in Cancer. So this is about our action principle, and this action principle aligning with that emotional growth that we've experienced in the past year, what we've reevaluated in the last couple months, right? So we're taking action according to those feelings, what we now know to be true and authentic and aligned with ourselves, what's in our heart, okay? And Mars in Cancer, has a little difficulty expressing itself in its purest form because Mars is fiery, Cancer is watery, but again, as long as we're looking at it in terms of this emotional growth from the past year, what we've reevaluated, it is about aligning our actions, not scattering them, but aligning them with our heart, where we've come to in our heart space, okay? And that Mars, when it enters Cancer here on Tuesday, it's also later in the week going to be forming a sextile to Chiron in Taurus, just like Mercury squaring Chiron in Taurus, okay? And so we've come to, in the last few weeks, a little bit more of an awareness of, again, our perceived limitations of our worth. And so Mars, now aligned with our hearts, is saying, I know what I'm worth. I know what I can go after in alignment with that worth, okay? And so there's a sense of opportunity to go after something we might not have gone after because it wasn't in alignment with our hearts and where our true emotions lie, okay? And what we actually feel. So it's Mars going with the feelings, action aligned with feelings, all right? And then the final thing this week is Venus. So Venus just entered Libra just a couple days ago. That's its home. It's one of its domiciles, okay? Taurus being the other one. And so as we're readjusting our authenticity, right, and limiting some of that ego, that pride, that immediately adjusts our relationships, our sense of how we relate to others, okay? Venus in itself is a relational planet. In Libra, it's a relational sign. And so there's an adjustment to our relationships that is happening in response to the adjustment in our authenticity and how we present ourselves to the world, all right? And so Venus in Libra, it's going to be opposing Neptune and Aries. And while it's doing that, it's forming a grand trine. So it's a trine, a triangle that goes across the entire zodiac here. So one trine to Uranus and Gemini, the other trine to Pluto and Aquarius, which are forming a trine to each other. So it's a grand trine. It's 3 trines going on with the anchor point of this kite formation. That's what it's called, being Neptune and Aries, which is ironic because Neptune's not exactly an anchoring planet. It's a little more nebulous, but it serves as the anchor in Aries. And so the anchor in this case is this sense of our whole soul selves, again, coming in, just like that barbell basket wants to contain more of us. And so this is a transformation with Venus basically aspecting all the outer planets. It's, again, a transformation of how we present ourselves to the world, how we relate to others on a one-on-one basis, on a group basis, whatever that basis may be. And this is just the start of it, okay? So we're evolving our relational self in response to the destruction of our ego self, right? And this is going to be ongoing because Venus, when we get to the fall, is going to retrograde in Scorpio back to Libra. So we're not going to be done with Venus and Libra until about early December, all right? So we've got several months of some aspect of Venus and Libra. So there's this adjustment period of how we relate to others in response, again, to how our ego is collapsing. We're collapsing our ego, making room for more of ourselves, and that has to adjust the way we relate. And that's what this Venus in Libra, extended Venus in Libra, essentially is about. And with it aspecting the outer planets right now this week, it really is saying it's time to evolve that self. No more mask, no more pretending. Authenticity is the new game in town. It's not a game. It's real. That's the key to authenticity. It's real. Anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any comments, put them below. If you're looking for a personal reading, I do those as well. We can look at how this all fits into your chart. Other than that, enjoy your Sunday, enjoy your week, and we'll see you again next time. Take care.